G'day, folks. Yeah, it's really balmy outside, I tell you. I got that heater going there, background noise, but hope you guys don't mind. Today, what are we going to talk about? Steve Robb was showing us some in Europe or in Africa where I worked for a while. They used to call those dominoes, or anyways, they're connections, but different type of connections. And this brought to mind something that in my electrical career, I was they call that here in Canada, they call that industrial electrician. I didn't start my life as an industrial electrician. I started my life in electrical as a house wiring electrician, and I graduated from commercial, and eventually I ended up in industrial, which is a big industry, electrical, which deals with different equipment, but I've seen changes, and this is what this is all about. I've seen changes through time. I was 45, 50 years in the trade, and I've seen changes through time, and I can't say that it was good changes. It was good for probably money-wise for some people, but quality-wise, like the equipment-wise, I don't think it was that good. When I first started in industrial, all you'd see mostly, well, for me anyways, was Allen Bradley, which was a name brand, and the stuff you'd buy was expensive, but you'd never change it. You'd install it, and it wouldn't fail, never. You wouldn't have to go back. And then there was another outfit, Square D, which made household equipment, panels and things like that, but they had industrial branch too, and they had quality stuff too. And so with time, things never stay the same, And I don't know. With time, I got to see that some other companies, there was GE, there was, who else was there? Gerald Westinghouse. Most of the motors were General Electric or Westinghouse. And then we started, I can't really say the years. It was about 40 years ago. We started seeing some different stuff. It was when Canada more or less joined the trading with the European Union, and then we had companies. It was Eaton. There was Klockner Mueller. I think that was German. There was Télémécanique, which was French. There was I'll think of others on my way there. I mentioned Klockner Mueller, but anyways, there was different companies, and by the geez, the quality was. We thought they were rinky-dink, but eventually, I'll tell you, they became the standard because of the price. We couldn't, companies wouldn't buy the Allen Bradley anymore, which was bulletproof. We'd call that bulletproof, which was top quality. companies would get this Télémécanique, which was, well, I always kind of thought that was at the bottom of the barrel. Hey, I seen there, we had a rack, with a bunch of, well, all it was, that was controlling lighting, and there was a lightning storm. It blew, I think, out of 15 lighting starters, controllers, it blew 10 of them. The coils, it blew 10 coils, just a lightning. And Allen Bradley, you never see that. Because the coils, well, okay, I have probably in my storage here, up there. But I didn't feel like taking if it wouldn't have snowed, I would have took my truck out and I would have brought some examples, But we're just going to talk about it. The Télémécanique and all this, I'll talk about that later. The coils were all little plastic stuff, a little light plastic, and as soon as you cycle them a little bit too much and they heat up, and then the plastic swells or deforms, and then first thing you know, the plungers don't work anymore, and you gotta change the coils and plungers and change the starters. The contacts fail because they're. Anyways, what I wanted to get at is the competition was so fierce that the Square Ds and the Allen Bradleys, they started making the lower level of quality to get to the quality of, hang on, I'm seeing something here and I'm wondering, no, no, that's a door actuator, I thought I could see Télémécanique coil there, and I would have showed you. No, I don't have none right in front of me there. I'd have to go rooting in my stock there. But anyways, it got to be ridiculous, and you had to really struggle to get to the quality. The companies like Allen Bradley started making these cheaper versions. Their contacts weren't for same size. Let's say like a starter, the size 1, size 2, 3, 4, 5, size 5 starter there. I forget the horsepower there, but that starter was, hang on, that wide. And see that? Wow, okay. Well, the starter was, good 12 inches high and 7, 8 inches wide. That was a size 5 starter. I think what, don't quote me on this, maybe 80, 100 horsepower starter. But hey, the stuff that it replaced, like competition with the European stuff, it would be just, that's ice. and the contacts were like the old stuff. The contacts were width of my finger here, and the new stuff was not even a 1/4 inch, and they'd fail. Like you'd cycle them maybe 10 times there, and on their load, and first thing you know, they'd be gone. They wouldn't work anymore. They'd seize up, or the contacts would burn. And you know what kind of spring inside they had? They had a spring the size of the springs in a pen there, the size of the spring in a pen there. That's what it looked like. Anyways, but it come to be that no use complaining, that became the standard and nobody'd be buying the good stuff anymore. Everybody'd be buying the well, we'd call it the European version, and that's what it was. But I know I got a whole. They even started taking out the old stuff and replacing it with, because the old starter racks, they used to be big for the amount of motors that you'd control, and then you could have a panel with you control 25, 30 motors with the same size that you'd control maybe 5 motors with, So question of size was big time, So we started changing to the new version, the European version, and they save a lot of room. And so there was a lack of quality. I've seen, Siemens was a big outfit, a European, I think that was German Siemens. German or Italian? But anyways, and I seen a switchgear, but we're talking big time, a high voltage switchgear. I seen built. The companies would compete, to with Allen Bradley and Square D, and I don't know. We had specs. I don't know how come that come to be, but we put that switchgear together, and then the inspector came, and we had to reinforce, put new bracing inside the Siemens switchgear, and then change some of the outer tin because it wasn't thick enough. See, the switchgear, sometimes when the knives close, there's arc chutes, they call that, and the knives close through the arc chutes and it hits the contacts, and sometimes it needs to be like a positive connection, and it has to be good, strong, and sometimes they even blow, And to protect the operator, it has to be a certain strength of box that whatever's happening is happening within, and the tin's got to be a certain size too, And we had to rebuild the whole switchgear because it wasn't up to par. But anyways, I don't know. Things have changed a lot since I started in this trade, And needless to say, well, I don't think it's changed for the better. I don't want to say that it's no good, all the new stuff. It works. Like Steve was showing these connection blocks, and that's all right if you don't have much load, much draw. Don't be putting no 15 amp, resistive. That's the resistive load. That's a heater, Now you put that on one of them connections, and I'd like to see a heat gun put to that connection and see how much it changes temperature. I'd be very surprised, Maybe I'm wrong. Nothing better than a positive connection, Nothing better. In my mind, anyways. I'm not saying I know everything. And this is why you don't see me making too many videos of telling how to do things here and on YouTube about electrical, because you're always, and me being a tradesman, you're even more liable. Like you steer somebody in a garden pad, even if you're right, there's always room for it coming back at you. So I know what I'm doing for myself. I don't say that I always do things the way it should be done. I know what's dangerous and what's not dangerous, and try to keep it within striking distance. But these connections, there's nothing better than a real tight connections. Those furls there, that's good. I have where are they? I have a whole slew of them, like from the small wire right up to the big stuff, number 8. I used them a lot, and especially for the stranded wire. For the solid wire, it's more or less not needed, except the screws will damage somewhat the solid wire. Well, if you put one of them furls on, and it keeps the wire, and it looks good too once you're all done, if you put furls on. But for the common man, yeah, if you're working with stranded wire, you're best off to put furls on, I think. But anyways, to each his own. I don't profess to know everything, and it's very I was going to say elusive. A good connection is elusive if you look at the different types of connections. A Mar connection, okay, just hand tight. What I always do is I hand tight it, and then I take the pliers and I kind of give it a hey, I seen, okay, that's something else now, I seen aluminum, You know, in the days, you guys don't remember that, you're not old enough. But in the days when aluminum come out in housing, when we'd wire the house, okay, and the worst case was in the wintertime, you'd wire the house, you'd put those Mars, you'd put them, and Mars is, I think, a commercial name, a Mar connector. But anyways, Marettes, we'd put them hand tight and as tight as we could. And when we go back and do the finishing, like install the fixtures, we'd always refit again, and you'd be surprised how loose they were. That's because the aluminum would expand and contract a lot, and they weren't as tight as they had put them, So, but that's something else. They discovered the aluminum wasn't as good as they thought it was, and now they just use it for the heavy connections, and they have compression lugs on them, and they have success. Hydro uses the aluminum a lot now, so. Well, even all the triplex, there's no more copper triplex up in the air, and their underground wires, they're all aluminum, which, it's acceptable. Things change with time, Like, I found through my life as an electrician, things change. Not always to the better, but things change, and being a grumpy old guy, you gotta accept the changes. Okay, I spoke my piece. We talked about different companies, and there's nothing against all these different companies. It's different qualities, and the money was the name of the game, and competition between companies. You had to even the big heavy-duty building companies, they refined their standards to be able to compete with the different other outfits. So things change with time, and you got to accept that that's the way it is. It is probably it's like everything else. Like then your models of hang on, where is my finger? Right there. My limousine. Hang on, I'll swing this over. Hey, my limousine. You go buy a new one and you'll find out that it won't take long, and you're going to be back at the garage. They'll have 2001 recalls, and you'll never end. It's you know what these recalls are? It's here we go. I'm off on another tangent. It's a torture test, eh? How long can you be without your vehicle that you paid a fortune for? And how many times can you bring it till you start to get sick of that? You just start abandoning the idea of getting it fixed. Hey, there ain't nothing better than the older ones. That's what I think anyways. Okay, folks, that's it for this one. Spent enough time. I just saying how things have changed, eh? And when you put a load on something, that's when you know how good it is. Okay, that's it. Comments are welcome. And as usual, we'll see you in the next one.